Hello, good morning, everybody. Oh, it did put down there. Hello, guys. How are you doing? Welcome to our live broadcast. Today, we are going to talk about some troubleshooting woes. I'm going to help you guys with some of your troubleshooting questions, some of the most asked questions that I personally get and that I see in Facebook groups, on YouTube videos, and things like that. So if this is something that you are interested in, go ahead, stick around. If you're watching the playback of this, if you're watching it live, hopefully you can stick around for the entire thing, or you can always come back and watch the playback. But no matter when you're watching this, do not forget to go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you're watching this live, you do have to exit out of the live chat to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Also, check and see if you are subscribed. If that subscribe button or that word subscribe is red, you are not subscribed to our channel. So make sure that you click on that so that it is grayed out. Hit the bell so that you are notified whenever we release content. All right. And last but not least, if I can get you guys to go ahead and share this broadcast out, that would be great. Even if you're watching over on YouTube, you can still hit share it, and create a post on your YouTube channel, or hit share it to Facebook, share it to your favorite Facebook groups that allow for great content such as this, or share it to your groups and your pages. I am Shakia, the professor. Our product line is called Honestly Speaking. We sell some of the best printing supplies on the market. We have our incredible sublimation ink that produces great colors, especially for blacks, because the ink is actually black in the bottle. It's not brown. It's black in the bottle. Okay. We just released our gray ink, so that is on the site right now. We have to make the bundle set for this, but that is on the site. As you can see, all of our ink bottles are 140 milliliters, so you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to our inks, and you won't have to you won't run out as fast as others because we have extra large bottles. We are also the home of that Change the Game Sublimation Paper that allows you to sublimate as low as 365 degrees for as fast as 30 seconds. So check out our sublimation paper on the site as well. As you can see, we provide full instructions on our cover sheet. If you are purchasing our paper and you've used other papers and you're used to other settings, make sure that you are reading the instruction sheet because the settings are different. You see this? We're already saving you with this 140 milliliters. Then, if you print using plain paper setting, you're saving ink. If you're printing on plain paper, which we're going to talk about today, you're wasting ink that's not really needed. So read the instructions. It has the instructions on there as far as print settings and then tips and times and all that kind of good jazz. So make sure you read the instructions. All right. So with that out of the way, almost forgot. Today's live broadcast is brought to you by the letters HSINK and the numbers 365. I did talk about it, but I always like to kind of put that in the live broadcast. And that is, those are the letters and numbers for our brand. So if you don't know about that, that is Honestly Speaking. You can get to our website simply by typing into your web browser hsink365.com. That's where you can get all of the products that I talked about and that we're going to discuss in this video. So I do want to ask, for those who are here right now and you are watching us live, who actually sublimates? I know that I have a wide audience. Not everyone sublimates. I have some people who watch me simply for silhouette stuff. They're still doing, when I say still, because it's okay to do it, they do vinyl, HTV, adhesive vinyl, or just paper crafting. So I just want to know who is in the audience today and who sublimates. If you're watching the playback, go ahead, drop it in the comment section to let me know if you are someone that sublimates. Are you new to sublimation? You got a couple weeks, couple months, couple days in the game, couple years when it comes to sublimation. because I want to see when we get to some of these issues, especially if you're someone who's been doing this for years and you still experience these issues, it will help our newbies where they don't feel like they're doing something wrong or like, something that they're doing where someone who is experienced is also having these issues. So go ahead, drop a comment, let me know if you submit and how long you have been doing it. If you if you are not, is it something that you have an interest in as far as learning to sublimate and wanting to know the benefits and uses of sublimation? So go ahead and drop that in the comment section for me. All right, so let's see. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of, hey, how you doing? It's a good morning. As always, Miss Reed, number one. You know what? I got to get you something special because you're always on it, my dear. I love it. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, hello. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hello, hello. How art thou? Let's see. What up, people? Hello, hello, hello. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and jump down. So someone here even said, she says, my main question is the white lines when I print to sublimation. I have a Mac G5. I have no idea what G5 is, but okay, we're going to answer those questions. All right, that's coming up. That's on there. She says, had to run over here. So she's, I submit, I do, waiting for my printer to get fixed so I can finally use my HS ink. I sublimate, I'm new. Hello, I sub. So we have a lot of people here who sub today. I sublimate, I do sublimate. I'm fairly new to it. I love sublimation. And I'm pretty sure you love HS ink also. 3 years in the game. So with you having 3 years in the game, do you have still some issues where you're like, oh crap, like maybe forgetting to mirror, occasionally experiencing those pizza wheels and things like that? Been doing it for a little over a year, almost 2 years. I've been subbing for a couple of years and still run into issues. I've been subbing for a couple of months, but only for personal use and gift giving. That's my favorite way to sub too. Yes, a little over a year. I started years ago and just started back at it a year ago. I submate 6 months in the game, doing it for a year. I submate. I've been submating for 3 years. Good morning. Some of you guys started the sublimation journey with me because I was not always one that actually submated. I got my arm twisted, turned, put behind my head by Miss Ebony. And that's how I got into this. But, it wasn't one of my, I didn't think I would get into it. And I thank her all the time because my life changed when she finally kind of gave me that push. Girl, go ahead and teach these people about sublimation. Some months in sublimation, I do. I've been doing sublimation for about 6 months, but still can't get the popping colors. And I use your settings. Oh, wow. Are you using our paper as well or a different brand of paper? I have an ET 2720. Subbing for 4 or 5 years, maybe more, but have difficulty with large items with only a 15 by 15 press. Ooh, that's a good one right there when it comes to doing larger items. And 2 months here. Okay, about a year. All right. So a lot of people here who sub. Let's get some more people in here who sub. So make sure that you guys interact with this video, with this live broadcast. Go ahead, give the video a thumbs up, share, tag a few friends in here, people who may have been struggling. Share it to some groups, guys. Let's get some more people in here so that they can get their questions answered. When I'm doing these live sessions, I do have a list of things that I am going to talk about. But if you have specific questions, feel free to go ahead and drop that in the comment section. All right. So we are going to get started. Feel free to go ahead. Oh, whoa. Why did it just pop up when I came over here? Hold on one second, y'all. Let's see. And it's just my luck. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And that's what I was going to go do. I'm trying to make sure that everything was kind of off so we didn't have these interruptions. Then I end up having 2 interruptions. All right. Let's see. Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb first. There we go. Then I have to remember to take it off of Do Not Disturb because I'll do that quite often. I will definitely forget to take it off of Do Not Disturb. Okay, so let's see. Where can I find the settings? My personal settings that I use. I just found out about your channel after already purchasing my supplies and filling my ink. Oh gosh, I have to read first. We don't. So over here, guys, when you're on my lives, I please, because I sometimes don't look and it'll flash on the screen, and I'm not trying to give nobody no free publicity around here. So if you guys could refrain from putting actual names, so just put I use another brand and things like that. So whenever you're on our platform, if you're in our groups, just refrain, just out of respect, because we have amazing products. Yeah, you may not have known about our amazing products on our amazing channel. So just use the term other inks or other brands whenever you are commenting on any of our posts, any of our live videos, because I will hit it. And this is why I need someone that's going to be here, that's going to put stuff up there so I can avoid little mistakes like that. But she says, but I will definitely be purchasing your ink next. Thank you for the support. I use your paper. Also, I can't put yours up because it also has another brand. I use another ink, but can't wait to be done with it so I can use your ink also. When I switch to ink, will I need to flush the lines? Which printer do you use, my dear? Been subbing less than 6 months. I've had a sub printer for 3 years and I haven't subbed yet. All right, so for our print settings, I will drop it if I drop it in the comment section right now, it'll be in the live chat. So what I will do is drop it in the description. And once this video is done with, I'll make sure that that's one of the cards at the end for both our regular Mac, or I'll not say regular, but our Windows PC settings and our Mac settings. I also have a link tree, and I'm going to end up having a section for that so that you guys can just go to our link tree and then click on those videos, and it'll take you, click on those links and it will take you right there for the settings. Or you can always search Honestly Speaking sub settings. So it'll, or Honestly Speaking Mac sub settings, and it'll take you to that video as well. Okay. All right. So the 2720, we're going to talk about that. All right. Let's just give a small little quick on what sublimation is for anyone that is new and you may come across this video. Sublimation is a process. Like, sublimation isn't just, how can I say it? Heating it up is sublimation. You know, so some people think like it's oh gosh, I don't know how to, it's just the printing part of it and things like that. But sublimation is a term that means that it goes from the solid state that's on the paper, it turns into a gas, and it binds to synthetic fibers or polymers. So with sublimation, it has to be something that is a synthetic fiber. Most popular, of course, is polyester. Polyester has a couple different names and comes in a couple different forms. You also have what's called like microfiber. You'll see that. That's usually a high polyester count. Normally it's 100% polyester, or you will find like microfiber towels. The ones from like the Dollar Tree are 100% polyester. So it says microfiber, 100% polyester. There are some that I have gotten from like Amazon, and they are microfiber, but they're also like a polycarbonate. It's something weird like that. It's only like 80% polyester, and then there's like another poly, which is more like a plastic. That's why when you see me press those, I always say put a cover sheet on it, because those little edges can melt onto your heat press. Other things that are basically polyester or synthetic fibers is satin. Silk is natural because of silkworms, but satin is a synthetic fiber. Nylon, synthetic fiber. So anything that's a synthetic fiber, you can sublimate to. If it is a hard substrate, it has to be coated in a polymer. There are special polymers, which are food grade polymers. I do not recommend coating your sublimation blanks in things like polyacrylic. That is not food grade. That is a chemical that should not be ingested and should not be put on someone's lips. So guys, please stop with all of the hacks. If you're wanting to get into this, just get the proper items. By the time you go and buy a Dollar Tree cup or buy a cup that's not made for sublimation, you buy the polyacrylic, you take the time to go and coat it. You have to do a couple different coats. If you're using a brush, you're going to get streaks in it. It's just not worth it. Go ahead and get you some quality sublimation blanks. Get you some quality sublimation blanks. I have a link in the description. There's a couple places that I am partnered with that have blanks. This video is not sponsored by any of them, but I am partnered with them to where I have affiliate links. If you use any of my links in the description, you're going to support our channel. And then with Johnson's Plastics, you're also going to get 15% off. So check the links in the bio. There is one for Heat Press Nation. There is one for Heat Transfer Warehouse. There is Johnson's Plastics. There's Pro World. Then there are some small businesses that I am partnered with as well. Patrice from Craftable Things on her Etsy channel, her Etsy page, Dynamic Print Supplies, she has blanks. Then you have Marisol from Sublimation Blanks and More.net. Well, actually, it's now subandmore.com. So she has them. My girl Kiana, formerly TTB, but Craft Sisters University, she has blanks on her site. And there are so many like more. We in our Facebook group, we started a thread for people who sell like blanks. If you have a site, whether it's an Etsy site or a Shopify site, we welcome you to post your links in our Facebook group. If you're someone that does not have those and it's kind of like just inbox me and things like that, please don't post. You will get deleted. We don't have time for issues. And I sent them a message. I Cashed app them, I Facebook them money, and I didn't get mine. But if you have a website or an Etsy, feel free to go ahead and drop your links. We're always trying to support small businesses, female-owned businesses, family-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, Caucasian-owned businesses, Hispanic-owned businesses, Asian, like it doesn't matter. If you are someone who is following your dreams, we want to support you. So go ahead and drop your links in our Facebook group, Honestly Speaking 365 Sublimation, if you have some great blanks, because most of them come from overseas anyway. If you're selling the blanks, I know that you have done the research and you were ordering it from someone where it's going to sub. I also have some things from Amazon. Check out that link also. If you want to kind of get stuff on Prime, you need stuff kind of right away. Check out my Amazon link as well, because I'm always updating it with different sublimation finds that I find on Amazon. But you apply heat and it binds to this, right? You're never going to know. There's no lines of demarcation. You're not going to know where the print starts and the substrate, where the print ends, substrate start, vice versa. It's binded to this. It's like burned into this. This is one of the only kind of like permanent type applications. Now, if you mess up, can you redo, like, can you fix this? Not really. There are people that will say you can burn it off, but it's always going to still be there. There's no way to ever like fully get all of the colors out, because it truly binds with those polymers and even with polyester. So you can't really get this out. There are so many different substrates, guys. Like this is not what that was for, to go over all the different substrates. I have different videos. I have a sublimation seminar. I have a sublimation boot camp that will be on sale. The playback of it during Black Friday. Definitely check that out to find out about all of like the many things that you can sublimate to. But like mugs, tumblers, shirts, fans, flags, like it's just a lot of things that you can sublimate to. And yeah, so that's a little bit about what sublimation is. It requires a printer that can print out the sub ink, and it has to be a heat-free printer, well, heat-free print head, which is why people always say you have to use an Epson, or you can use like an actual sub printer, which is made to not have heat, such as like the Sawgrass, the Rico, and things like that. There is a wide format HP one that is out that is also heat free, but that is a large format. It's not a desktop, but for desktop purposes, you can basically, I hate this word, but convert a Epson printer to sublimation by putting in the sublimation ink. In the Eco tanks, you'll put the sublimation ink in directly. instead of the regular ink. If you have a cartridge base, you will start with the Epson cartridges first and then put in your sublimation cartridges or your continuous ink system. You'll also need paper. Sublimation paper is best to get those really sharp, bright, crisp colors. Can you use any paper? Yes. I have a video where I printed to green cardstock, blue cardstock, and it still transfers. The colors are off. They are slightly different. So that like the untrained eye would never know the difference. But when you see it next to something else, you're like, oh wait, that is night and day. So can you use other papers? Yes, but it's not ideal. So that's one of that's one of the questions too that I always get. Do you have to use sublimation paper? If I'm just trying to test this out, can I use other papers? You can. When you're using those different papers, your temps and times will vary. So if you use regular paper and you have to press like longer, you're going to get bleed out and all those different things. If you set and you're writing your notes based off of that, when you go to the sublimation paper and you probably do like those same tips and time, and it's much longer and all of that, guess what? You're going to burn it or you're going to mess it up. So you can, but I would recommend if you are new, although it may seem like it's better to use regular paper, I'm like the total opposite of what you probably heard in every group. And you see people they'll say, start with regular paper. Don't waste your sublimation paper. But if you're learning something new, you want to learn it the right way. Once you kind of get a hang of it and you understand how sublimation works, if you want to, for like your own personal things and stuff like that, if you want to then use other papers, go ahead, because you will have an understanding. And if something goes wrong, you'll understand why. But if you start out the wrong way, it's going to take you longer to figure out the right way. So my recommendation is always to start with sublimation paper, and all sublimation paper is not created equal. So your settings for one paper might be different for another. Print settings as well as your dwell time or press settings. So know your equipment. And then of course you have to have sublimation ink. It is totally different than your dye inks. So this brings me to one of the my actual topics as far as your colors being off. Okay, let me go up here. So if your colors are completely off, there are a couple of reasons why this may be happening to you. First off, it may be the type of printer you're using. So someone said they're not getting the bright, vibrant, popping colors. It should still pop. Not sure if it's like your heat press or things like that, but we're going to get into that. But if your colors are not accurate, if you're supposed to be printing out a teal, you're getting more bluish. Your reds are looking more like maroonish. Your yellows looking a little bit more orange and things like that. If you're doing pictures of people and it seems like it has a lot of red tones. There's a couple of things that affect it. One, the ink with the printer, the ink, and your print settings will affect these. Okay, so in this, as far as your colors being off, we're going to discuss three different things: your printer, your ink, and your print settings. Epson EcoTank printers, all of them, except for the 16600 and 16650, use dye inks for your cyan, magenta, yellow. Some of them also use dye inks for the black. Most of them now use pigment ink for the black, or they'll call it photo black. That is basically pigment ink. There is no such thing as photo black for sublimation. Those people, like a lot of companies now, they'll have photo black. Basically what they're now doing is they realize that there is a black ink and they're putting this in there. When we sell ours for the 8550, we will not have a photo black. This is it. We don't have a brown ink. So there's no sense of us having a so-called photo black ink. There is none. Even with the brown ones, it will still produce black. But this is what, they're basically adding to their work repertoire now, rather than just have it all as their black ink. But this is what yellow ink looks like for those printers. It's dye ink. You see that it's not opaque. it looks orange. It's like food coloring. If we look at the magenta one, it looks like it's really, really dark. I mean, you hold it up to the light, you might see the magenta color come through, but this is really, really dark. Well, sublimation ink is made to be like pigment ink. It is pigmented. So this basically means the color that you see. I'm trying to see if I have one that is a pigment. No, that's sublimation. I had it and I don't know what I did with it. Oh, great. What did I do with my pigment ink one? Oh gosh, sorry y'all. Did I put it back? Okay, no, I put it over here. Sorry. Hold on. So although the colors are slightly different, and let me just pull this one out. Your sublimation ink and your pigment ink look they look really close to each other. So whether it's that one, and then I just realized this is a little bit darker, but it will still produce the same kind of colors. Like it's pigmented when it comes to this type of ink. So it looks like the color of the ink, even if it's like a little bit. Of course, sublimation ink, the color is a little bit different because it's heat activated, but it's not like this in that it's brown looking. So because of that, the way that those printers are, the firmware for it, and the way that it's made to mix these really dark inks to produce brighter colors, and the way that it outputs, it's not going to do the same for a color that's already pigmented. So your colors are going to be off. You will not be able to produce accurate colors without a color profile. I mainly teach from Silhouette Studio. With Silhouette Studio, especially if you're using a Windows computer, you cannot put in you really can't put in a custom color code for any like printer, any computer. But with Macs, their print settings, like they don't really consider like the program, because their print settings look the same basically no matter which program you print from. So with Macs, you can put in custom color profiles. With Windows PCs, you can't from Silhouette Studio. Programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, all of those, you can. But I mainly teach Silhouette Studio. You cannot use a color profile. So your colors are going to be off when you're printing from things like Silhouette Studio, Cricut Design Space. If you are printing from your phone directly, you're not able to put those color profiles in. So you're going to have slightly off colors. Printers that use pigment inks, the colors will be a lot more accurate because almost every ink on the market is made to match the color profile of pigment inks. We're all getting them from overseas. Almost all those factories make them the same way. There's a slight difference in color. As far as like what they look in the bottle, you might see a very slight difference in the output, but for the most part, they're all made to match the output of pigment ink printers because they're pigmented like pigment ink, but they are not the same. Pigment ink is for regular printing. So if you have an EcoTank printer, expect your colors to be slightly off, especially if you have a 7710, 7720, you have both and you're wanting to print. Try not to print the same order, like you're trying to get more out and you're printing the same exact file from both printers. Your colors are going to be different. So avoid that. If you're just printing from one, you might not really notice it, except for things that are really, really noticeable. Like for me, one of my testers is like the Bahamian flag, the Jamaican flag, Elsa and Anna, like I do them. And then like Mario because of the reds and the yellows, but definitely that Bahamian flag. It's supposed to be kind of like an aqua, tealish type color. And with the 2720, it comes out more of a deeper blue. So your colors are going to be off based off of the printer that you're using and the ink that it is designed to work with. So that is like, I guess, kind of combined as far as why your colors are going to be off. The next one is going to be your print settings. Premium presentation paper matte, premium matte, and things like that put out a lot of ink. It becomes overly saturated with ink. So that's going to affect your colors because it's putting down too, like the concentration of it. It's just too much. So your magentas, it's already like the most powerful color in this whole setup is magenta. It takes over everything, everything. So if you're using premium matte and it's oversaturating, those colors are going to come off. It's going to be more like red tones, and like your yellows can be orange because it's going to put down so much magenta. There are ways to kind of soften that, and that is by basically what's called over sublimating. You're going to need to press it for a lot longer than what you normally would. And if you're going to do it that way, you're doing a shirt, definitely put a piece of butcher paper in between, not even butcher paper, put parchment paper, because if you over sublimate, it's going to go through that butcher paper as well. Put parchment paper inside your shirt because that has a true barrier to it, and you want to press it longer. And you're going to basically over sublimate it to where you are somewhat like knocking out some of those colors. You're almost like burning it off. If your colors are like severely off, try that. Try over sublimating it, pressing it longer than what you normally would to see if it will burn some off. A lot of times that does help. You can also adjust your print settings down to a setting that is less ink, like it's using less ink, so it's not going to put down as much magenta. That's the settings that we recommend. I'm not going to go fully over that because we have a video on that. Like I said, I will put it in the comment section after this video. I'll also have it as a card at the end where you can go and check out those print settings. But you want to use plain paper, bright white, set to high or quality, depending on which printer you have. So with my video, I realized that not all printers have the quality slide, like the slide to go to quality. It just stops at high. You can just go to high. I now realized I need to do another video for that because I kept getting questions. Mine doesn't say this. Mine doesn't say that. What do I put it on? So I'll just make a new video. But plain paper setting will kind of minimize that. The other thing with your print settings is the setting that you're using. I have this printout, which I should have left that out. I had it and I put it up. But I've done this video, which I have that video. You can always go check it out. I have like one with Care Bears and then one with these pictures on it. I printed out in every like variation: automatic, ICM, Adobe RGB, no photo correction, like all of that. Those will give you different color outputs. That ICM, unless you are using an ICM or ICC profile, a color profile, that is going to produce some very, very weird colors for you. No color adjustment, very, very weird colors, unless you have a profile in there. The automatic, it's not that bad. Like if you just leave it on that one, it's for some colors, it comes out okay. Others, not so much. So you want to figure out like what's going to be the best setting. For me, I find that Adobe RGB Gamma 1.8 is the best for me. May not be the best for everyone. You can do your own testing to figure that out. I know I did my testing, and Adobe RGB 1.8 is what works best for me in all of my settings. The last thing, I said 3, but it's actually 4. The last thing why your colors might be off is because of your monitor and the way that it is showcasing colors and the way that your eyes are seeing the colors. So if you don't have a monitor that's kind of has a really good resolution, it can look a certain way. I've done a video where I've shown that my Photoshop screen looks totally different from one screen to the next. Like when I put them on there, it looks totally different. So as the song say, your mind's playing tricks on you. Your eyes can play tricks on you when it comes to that. So your monitors will kind of affect how those colors actually are, and then which program you are using. The color palette in Silhouette Studio is not accurate in any way, shape, or form. I do not ever recommend using the color palette in Silhouette Studio for anything printing. You want to print out color charts and have those available to where you can look at it, reference the color that you want, input that color, and know that it's going to come out correctly. I recommend that you put your color charts on fabric as well as on a hard substrate like a tumbler or something like that, so that you can see the difference between how it's going to come out on a harder substrate or a on fabric. I even have someone, they put it on like a tag. They have like the metal frames for pictures. Someone put it on there. So you want to just put it on something that is coated for sublimation so that you can see and have a soft substrate like fabrics and something hard. So those are the 4 reasons why your colors could be off. It will be your actual ink, your printer, your print settings, and the like the color on your monitors and the color codes that you are using. Okay. So hopefully that has answered some of your questions as to why your colors are off. If you feel like you've done all of those things and your colors are off, go ahead, drop a comment and let me know that you've adjusted your settings, you know which printer you're using, and if you're using a color code and you feel like your colors are still off. All right. Let's see. I know someone who said they use sublimation paper, but on a regular printer, haven't seen the shirt yet. So it doesn't matter. You cannot sublimate. The power is not in the sublimation paper. It's just paper that you're printing to. It's just that sublimation paper is made to where the ink kind of, it doesn't soak into it and it's going to actually release. It has to be sublimation ink on some sort of paper. Just having sublimation paper does not complete the sublimation process. That's not the most important factor. The ink really is, and the substrate that it is going on. So with a regular printer, they may mean like a regular printer. An Epson printer is a regular printer. It just has sublimation ink in it, and you can do it that way. So I cannot show your comment, Ms. Robinson, because you mentioned another ink brand, but we have settings. If you ordered our paper, the settings are right on there. Like, guys, you have to read this. We provide everything for you. Everything. So right here, settings. For full ink saturation with Epson desktop printers, we recommend print settings. The recommended print settings are plain paper, bright white, high quality setting, color controls, Adobe RGB 1.8, high speed off, maintenance extended settings, check thick paper and envelope. For sublimation printers, verify for other sublimation printers, verify their recommended settings. The only thing that's not on here is the density, because we did this one before I started changing the density on it because of the EcoTank printers. But we have everything right here, and we have tons and tons and tons of videos. We are a company that provides full support, not just a product. And hey, you're on your own. We provide full support with our products. So even though we're not producing the ink, we're not producing the paper and things like that, we are just like any other company that sourced them, and we're paying, like right now, I just dropped a bill for $10,000, $11,000 for our cargo. We are bringing these things in and just providing them for you, where you guys don't have to deal with all of the import and all that stuff, and you are supporting another business that is basically supporting you. So we provide full support from our business. Okay. Let's see. Hey. Okay, thank you. I have an ET27. I've got in your color charts also. I think it's the ink. That's the only thing that I have that you don't. So yeah, again, no matter really what the ink, 2720s, your colors are going to be off. Now, as far as vibrancy, that's probably going to come in how you are pressing and what you are pressing to. Okay. You haven't received our paper yet. Okay. I only use your products. Thank you. All right. So the next one that we're going to talk about, I'm going to pull this up, is banding lines. Banding lines. And I'm going to talk about what that is, which I saw this and now I don't see my other one. Y'all, I tried to be prepared and I thought I had all of my prints right here and they aren't. I see this one, but my one that has the banding lines has disappeared. I don't know where I moved it to. Give me 1 second, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, it fell. I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. It fell. All right. So mine, I guess, I don't know. To me, they're not that bad. But what banding lines are these white streaks. Hold on, I'm trying to see if you guys can see. Okay, so you see the white streaks in her cap, a little bit in her face, and the colors are spread out. Can you see that? You see there, those white lines. Now, these are white lines, not white dots, white lines. These are called banding lines. And then also with this, there's a big difference in the color too, because this was set to automatic and the colors will end up being very different. I wanted to do this video first, and then I'm going to show me pressing these and you'll see the difference in like how this magenta comes out compared to the other one. But these are called banding lines. You get these whenever you print on a low ink setting that also like prints out pretty fast. Like, so it's going to where it's like dropping the ink. If you think about like when it's raining and it's windy and like that rain is just flying all over the place. I just realized my husband wasn't here. It's flying all over the place. So it's putting it down. It's not putting it down concentrated and together. And this is whenever you are using plain paper setting set to standard on a Windows PC or normal on a Mac. This is from plain paper bright white or high quality plain paper, but it is set to the quality is set to standard or normal. High quality does not mean you're getting high quality if the quality setting is on standard or normal. You have to increase that to high or more settings. So then when you look at this one, all right, this is one where you have lines, but they are closer together. Hold on, let me trying to get that to focus. Hold on. Trying to get it to focus. Not sure if you can really see those, but there are some very, very slight lines in there, right? With this, especially on fabrics, you're not going to see these. So this is from using a plain paper setting as well. There are slight banding, but it's not like a major band. You're not going to really see these. These on here, you might slightly see them on fabric, like, because you have to remember when you sublimate, it's turning into a gas. So that gas really will fill in a lot of those gaps. But when it's major lines like this, you'll still see them. On a hard substrate, you definitely will see them, like those major banding lines. The ones that are on here, because of the type of paper you are using, you may end up seeing those lines because it's not absorbing into and it's not filling in. This lets you know that this is going on. It's kind of resting on top. You're going to get a sharp image because it's not soaking in and then kind of like, you know, when you put like liquids on the paper. It's like it'll soak in, it'll move. Like it's printing on there and it's kind of staying in place. These type of lines will not show up. If you prefer to not really see these at all, you can use a higher setting such as premium matte. If you want to kind of go and print on that, it's going to take a lot longer to print. And the reason why it takes so much longer to print is it's printing and putting out smaller drops of ink closer together. And it's going over a section more than once so that it fills in all of those gaps. So it does take longer. It is going to appear to be a much smoother print, but it's not going to really help your output. This shirt was printed in plain paper setting. And look at how bright and vibrant those colors are. You're going to still get bright, vibrant colors. You don't see the lines or anything like that whenever you're printing on plain paper, bright white, with your setting set to high and or quality. Like you go to more settings and that's quality, and also turning your quiet mode off. This is one that because of how it was printed, these kind of go sideways. But I promise you, like, I never have these on any substrates. I'm not sure if you guys can somewhat see those. Those will not show on your substrate. Now, if you're doing something that is a hard substrate, you can, I don't even know. I don't really feel like I ever see them. Some people say that they still see the banding lines on there. I never don't. I never do. I never don't. I never do. I'm not sure. Maybe it's like when it comes to that, it's the coating that is on your, yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to go through all of my tumblers here to see if I have one that I can see like those lines on it. And this is, I love this mace. Like I love this. I got this from Patrice over at Craftable Things. I love this. And I don't like, I'm not sure if it'll focus, but there are no lines in that. And this was printed on plain paper. I did this in a live video. So there's no like magic tricks or anything like that. I did this on live, and I don't ever see any of those. Here's a mug. And it's a full wrap mug, and none of those lines are visible. So trust me when I say those lines, if you're printing and you don't have banding is totally different from just the regular print lines depending on the paper. The way our paper is made, it's a resin coating. It's not going to always fill like those in. These will not transfer. Once you sublimate, it's going to fill them in. But the wider gaps, you will see those wider gaps. So there's a difference in that one and in this one. And the lines that you see. So banding lines, the correction for that is your print settings. If your colors, actually, I don't even say that because, well, you'll also get like banding lines or you'll get voids if there is a break in your print head. The first line of defense when troubleshooting sublimation is to do a print nozzle check. I need for all of you guys, so I know that you understand, to write in print nozzle check in the comments. Not a print head cleaning. It's you go to settings, maintenance, and you do a print head nozzle check. Print head nozzle check or print nozzle check. It'll say one of those ways. What this does is it tells you the current state of your print heads. If you do a print head cleaning, that probably will correct it. But then you won't really know why it was doing that. So you have to do a print head nozzle check, not a cleaning. It will tell you the state. It's going to tell you which colors are off. If your black is perfect, when you go to your print head cleaning, select the option for all colors except black. All colors except black. This is going to make that process a whole lot faster, and you're not wasting your black ink and putting it in your maintenance tank unnecessarily, because once you fill up your maintenance tank, you're going to have to change it out if it's a printer that you can change it, or if you have the smaller format or like the lower expense, the less expensive eco tanks, once that maintenance tank is full, there's no more going back. Like that printer is gone, done. You might as well get a new printer. Some people say they figured out hacks, but you can't purchase a maintenance tank for that particular printer. So choose the option for all colors except black if the black is not affected. If you have major breaks in it, a regular print head cleaning is not going to really clear that up. Or if you have like no color, a regular print head cleaning is not going to clear that up. If you have the major breaks, which let me go ahead and switch I forgot to make one for that. So if you have major breaks in your nozzle check, if you're using a cartridge-based printer, one, if you have like our cartridges, you have to make sure that the circle in the middle is filled with ink. That means that it is primed. If there's no ink in there, you're going to get breaks. And no matter how many print head cleanings you do, you're going to get a bunch of breaks because the ink comes from that small hole, which this is in front of me. I just remember where I put them at. So the way that this is set up, there is this little circle in the middle that must be filled with ink. Right now, that is, I mean, okay, it could have a little bit more. But if that is ever empty or full, like it's a really, really, really big air pocket, it's not going to print out properly no matter how many print head cleanings you do. That's why you want to do your nozzle check to check the state first, and you'll know which cartridge to test. So if you look at this, the way that this works, it picks the ink up from inside here. It goes through this tube. This tube feeds into here. So that's how the ink gets in there. And then if you look very closely, there is another tube that comes out of here and it comes down to this part right here, which is where the ink outputs. So your ink is not coming from in here. It's coming from in here. So if there's no ink in there, it's not going to print properly. So you have to make sure that it is primed. The other thing that will cause that is you have your plug in your vent hole. Your vent hole is always to the back, no matter what your cartridge looks like. Even if you have the one that's not like this, this is the best cartridge. It regulates. My ink never really goes past this point. Once it tells me like it's out of ink or close to being out of ink, it's at this point right here. But with this particular, like if any cartridge, whether the fill hole is here, here, or here, the back one is always your vent hole. These are like, you don't have to worry about. If you get air in there or ink in there, don't worry about it. If there's no ink in there, don't worry about it. The most important thing is that this hole is open so that air can circulate through it. If you have this plugged, no matter how many print heads cleanings you do, you're not going to clear those breaks in your prints. Or you might clear it for 1 or 2 prints and then it's going to go back. So you have to make sure that you remove the vent plug when it's in your printer. Okay. So that's one of the major reasons why you're going to have breaks. And then there are times where it's going to be your print head. So if you do a print head cleaning, it does not clear it. Do not continue to do print head cleanings. Take these things out, check it. If all of those things are checked off, then the next step is to do what's called push air. I have a video on that. So all of these things I will have in the description saying like, hey, this is your next step. I have a video that's called push air, and it only works for cartridge-based printers that you're using cartridges. If you're using a continuous ink system, that's a totally different ballgame. I recommend you just throw the crap away and get one of these and a chip resetter. It's just too much headache for the continuous ink system. But you'll push air. And the reason why you'll do that is there's probably an air pocket in your print head, and that's causing those breaks. So those breaks in your colors will also cause banding lines. But if you get the banding lines, you do a nozzle check, and it's all good, then it's your print settings, or you actually check your print settings first anyway to make sure that you're on high or quality and not on standard. So that's your major breaks, okay? Everybody understands that? All right. Oh, that's a good one. And I did not think about that one. Someone says, what about the scuff marks? So your scuff marks are going to come from, most times it is using that premium matte setting because you're putting down too much ink. Or you have bends in your paper and it's scraping up against different things inside your printer that may have ink. So you want to clean it. You want to make sure that your paper stays as flat as possible and try to avoid using the higher ink settings such as premium matte. You'll find that if you switch to plain paper setting, it's going to pretty much eliminate those scuff marks you're going to get unless you have a paper that is bent and it is getting caught on your print head. It's true with all eco tanks except 16600 and 16650. They are the only two printers where the ink that comes in the box is pigment ink. Every other eco tank printer, even the 7750, the new 8550, 7550 or 8550, like with those, they're all dye-based inks. If you open your box and your ink looks like this, your colors are going to be off. If you open your box and your colors are like this, which is or like a true yellow, you're not going to have those issues. All right. So that's that one. The next one is pizza wheels, or I like to call them pinwheels. I don't understand why people call them pizza wheels. And every time we make our own pizza and I cut it, I'm like, this pizza wheel is straight. It's a straight blade. They're talking about dots. Why do people keep calling them pizza wheels? I have no idea. Which is why probably like my videos about certain things doesn't get any traction because I use the proper terms. Pinwheels is what it more so looks like. It's like little pin drops, like it's pinwheels. So I don't have a video that says pizza wheels, which I guess I should because that's the term everyone looks for because one person said it and they think that that person or these people were the gurus for it and they're using incorrect terms. I'm just trying to figure out what pizza wheel or pizza cutter has dots because all the two that's in our kitchen are straight blades. So I'm like, whatever. So I say pinwheels whenever I'm referring to them because they look like to me like little pin droplets. So this occurs from the wheels on desktop printers. When you're talking about the big boys, the large format, the 36 inches, the 44, the 60, the this, that, and the third, like the large format printers, once ink touches those, never does wheels or anything ever touch it again because it's on a roll, it's able to grip it, and it's always a continuous like feed. So you're not going to have the rollers on the front of your printer. The purpose of those rollers is to keep the paper down for one, and then once the back edge of your paper gets into that open well where it's no longer held on by the back part, it's in that open well with the print head going across it. If there are no pinwheels there to hold it in place, and like for gravity purposes, it's going to shift and move. So those pinwheels holds that paper in place so that you can get to the edge of the paper. So some people say take your pinwheels out. That's the worst thing you can do because then you're going to get those scuff marks and it's going to move around in there. They serve a purpose. If you want to take some of them out to minimize like the number of lines, you can, but you're still going to have them in like some places if you're using premium presentation paper matte. So desktop printers, even the Epson 50s F570, they have pinwheels in the front to hold the paper in place because it's not on a continuous roll. Even though that one is on a continuous roll, it still has pinwheels in the front, which was, I don't understand why. So the way sublimation ink is, you don't want like, ideally your ink should not really like soak up into it. You get pinwheels even with a pigment ink printer. If you're using something that's not absorbing that ink, if you're putting paper that's made for laser in a inkjet printer, if you're using like certain glossy papers or stickers and you're using that high ink setting, you're going to see those pinwheels because it's not going to absorb that ink. Same thing for sublimation. If you're using a paper that's like ours, like a resin base, over time, it's going to pick up on it because it's going over and that ink isn't drying fast enough. So it picks up on those pinwheels. You have to do a couple different things. One, change your ink settings so that it's putting down less ink. That comes from changing to plain paper setting. And with the eco tanks, they just put down a lot of ink. So even on plain paper high setting, you may still get them. And that's when you want to change the density. That's one of the reasons why density wasn't on there. I wasn't having those issues. I don't really have those issues when it comes to my 7720. But on the eco tank printers, that is a major issue. So I had to go, into research mode. I was testing the amount of paper that I had. It was ridiculous. I was testing every single setting that you can think of until I came out with the proper settings. The settings for that this is not research that other people do. I see all of these posts with change your saturation, change this, changing your saturation, changing your contrast. That changes the color of the image. I just did a class on image effects in my academy within Silhouette Studio. That changes the color of your images. That has nothing to do with your actual print settings and the amount of ink that comes down. It makes me cringe when I see these posts and these comments, and I'm like, what are they talking about? Like, stop giving people misinformation. But that does not. So changing your saturation, your contrast, and things like that does not affect it. And then I know even in my video, I wanted to redo it over because when I looked at density, I changed it in like the settings, and that really doesn't do as much on that extended setting. Changing that density really is where it's adjusting the amount of ink. When you change the density under those color settings, it's changing the colors a little bit. So I do want to update my video again to not really change it in the print settings and just change it in the density. And how I also realized that was with the max settings, because there's only really one place to change the density in the max. So just changing that one, I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So if you watch my other one, you can leave the density under the like where the color settings are. Just leave that at 0. Under extended settings is where you want to change that density to not affect the color output, just to like thin out. So it's almost like like they say a blood thinner. It's like an ink thinner to thin out how much ink it's actually putting down. You also have to clean your wheels. Even if you're using plain paper setting, if you're doing a lot of the darker colors, they're just strong colors. So occasionally you will have to clean your pinwheels or your pinch wheels. That's a part of your regular maintenance. I try to do mine. If I'm doing like a lot of prints, after so many prints, I try to kind of clean it. After major print jobs, if I'm doing a lot of black, I try to clean it immediately. I have videos for that as well. Wheels, whether it is on a workforce printer or an EcoTank printer, I have videos for both of those on how to clean those. That has to be a part of your regular maintenance for these printers because you are using a printer that is not made for sublimation. You're using it for sublimation. So you're going to have to do some extra things to it. Just no way around it. You want to avoid that? Then get a printer that is made for sublimation and pay that extra money. But that is a part of your regular maintenance, is to clean those pin wheels or those pinch wheels. But the first line of defense is to adjust your settings. If you must, and you feel like, because I have these two, to me, it's not a major difference. Well, okay, if I'm being perfectly honest, I probably will do a video that says for sublimation tumblers, only because you never know what the quality of the tumbler is. It probably would be best for you to use premium matte with a low density. Like when I did this one and how bright and vibrant these are, that was plain paper setting. All of these, hold on. So all of these are plain paper setting. but they are also a different type of tumbler, right? Like, look at that one. Now, this up here is plain paper. This, oh, I should have showed this one when I was talking about colors and how it can affect it. This is plain paper setting, right? The bottom one, exact same image, printed on premium matte. What do you notice as far as the difference in the color? Let me hold it back. Do you notice a difference in the color? Exact same image. I just split it in half. And one is plain paper, one is premium matte. So that will affect your colors because of all of that magenta. Do you see the difference? That this is gray and then this has a red tone to it. But so this is plain paper. This is premium matte. This is a really good quality tumbler. When I use a different brand where the coating was not that great, which is this one, I do see a difference in my plain paper and my premium matte setting. Slight difference, but there is a difference in the plain paper and the premium matte. And let me see, we go to another section. Like, let's go to the squirrel. So there's a slight difference in it, but that's because of this tumbler. So because you don't always know what tumbler you're using and like how they coated it, I am going to make an updated video with like a lower density to where I would recommend using premium matte only for tumblers, and then make a preset that says that this is your tumbler setting. But for shirts, for hard substrates, coasters, mugs, and all of that, like this, do you see these colors? This is plain paper. This, I promise you, this is not premium matte. I have not used premium matte really until I was doing certain testing or just for testing purposes. But to put it on items, I use plain paper. This is plain paper setting. When I did this in my sublimation seminar, they saw I printed plain paper setting, not premium matte. And these colors are popping. But for tumblers, I am going to make an updated video where I do recommend, if you don't know, like if you're trying out a couple different brands, you may want to use premium matte unless you know for sure that it's a quality brand and you can use plain paper setting. But first line of defense is change your settings to avoid the pinwheels. All right. Let's see. It's darker and the colors are a lot different. Like this is gray. Same matter of being darker. It's just that this is gray. This is pink. Like it has like a reddish tone to it, but this is gray. It's still nice, dark, vibrant. It's just that the colors are off. Yes, I notice when I print a lot of black, I get the pinwheels. Good morning, Professor. I have a question about why after a tumbler has been sublimated, it gets permanent fingerprints when it is used. The tumbler has not been in a dishwasher. It's the coating. That's what happened with this one. And it's basically like water stains, and it was because of the quality of it and like my paper and stuff stuck to it. I still somewhat have like some issues, but what I do with these, once I realized they weren't a quality one, I realized that the issue was it's not cured properly. I put these, so before I use any of these, I put them in my oven, 250 degrees, about 10 minutes or so. And that's just going to fully cure that coating that is on there. And then it eliminated a lot of the issues that I was having. Because some of you guys saw my video when I was testing and I was having issue after issue after issue. And it was the tumbler. So once I went and I did that process where I cured it, because I was going to spray all of mine with my Subli glaze. So I'm like, look, I'm not going to waste these tumblers. I have some Subli glaze, and I still might do that just to see if the color comes out a little bit better. But I'm going to put it on my turner and I'm going to spray it with my Subli glaze to see if that will help those colors pop a little bit more on those tumblers that were like not so great. But yeah, so that's the reason why that's probably happening, is the coating that's on there. Once it hits the water, it's more so like water stains, and that coating is just not cured properly. All right. So the last one that we are going to talk about is how vibrant your colors are and why aren't you getting those vibrant colors. A couple things will affect your like you getting vibrant colors. It's going to be the type of material that you are pressing to, whether or not it is a substrate. So look at how different, even with this one, which one is the premium matte one? Let's go premium matte. Same exact images, same exact images. This is a higher ink setting than this one, but the colors look different. Tumblers and the way that they are coated are a little bit different than like a shirt or a mug. This has a true gloss to it. So the ink is going to go into these pores a little bit different than it would for a tumbler. If you go and you're doing a set for a tumbler, a mug, a shirt, a keychain, a passport cover, a mask, they're going to look different. It's not that one is less vibrant like than the other, like there's anything that you can do about it. It's about the substrate. Not all sublimation substrates are created equal. They're going to produce different results. Okay. So that's the first thing, is just understanding what it is that you are sublimating to that's going to affect your colors. If you're pressing to fabrics and just textiles and things like that, the higher the polyester count, the more vibrant the colors will be. So anything 89% or higher is going to give you some really, really great colors. I used to say 93 until with Silky Sock, I think it's their underwear or their sport, I think it's the underwear or something like that. It's only 89% polyester. And I pressed that. Oh no, was it Silky Sock or was it? No, it wasn't that. It was the bathing suit from Walmart, the No Boundaries. I think that one was maybe 80 some percent, but I believe Silky's might not be, it's like 80 some percent as well for theirs. And it still produce really, really bright colors. So I used to say 93, but like 89% or higher, I was like, let's just say 90. You're going to get the best colors. Now, if your substrate is a blend of two synthetic fibers, it's still going to get vibrant colors because sublimation binds to synthetic fibers. So if it's like polyester and nylon, and even if it's like, let's say like 60-40, it's going to still appear vibrant because they're both synthetic. But if it is a blend of synthetic and natural, such as cotton, the lower the amount of polyester or the percentage of polyester, the less vibrant it will be. So as you continue to move down and let's say you're pressing the same exact design on all these different shirts, you're going to see a difference and a shift in the color because of those cotton fibers, and it's not going to fully bind to those. And then once you wash it, you're going to see anywhere where there was cotton, like it will slowly over time, like kind of come out of it. And it's not going to be as vibrant maybe as the first day that you did it because of like anything washing out of those cotton fibers. So you want to try it for the best colors, keep it on the higher end of polyester percentage. The lower you go, it begins to look washed out and not as vibrant. 50-50. Can you press to it? Sure can. Is it going to be vibrant? No. Vintage, washed out look. So that's going to affect it. Your vibrant colors are also affected by your heat press and whether or not you have even pressure. I'm not even going to say it's about the heat. It is more so the pressure. Not sure if you guys caught it when I did a video and I made a mistake and left my heat press on 324 degrees. Those colors were still popping. Like when we pressed on at 365, you can see a slight difference, but it was still nice and vibrant. Like you really would like, I know, and we know because we put them side by side, but if I was just to look at that one, I wouldn't think that there was anything wrong with it. That let me know that it's not more so the heat. because it can, and I think we ended up pressing that for a little bit longer once I realized it. So because it's at a lower temperature, pressed it for a little bit longer, got great colors. But if you don't have that even pressure, and with sublimation, it is gas, guys. It's not, you're not printing right on the shirt. So if you don't have that even pressure, as that gas is coming down, if it's not even pressure, it's very thin. Some of it's going to kind of go, like, it's going to dissipate out. It's not going to actually get onto your substrate if you don't have even pressure. It is going to, so some of it, those gases are going to end up spreading out and basically going out of it, and it's not going to get onto your substrate. That's going to affect your colors. So having good, even pressure is very important, more so than temp. If your temp is lower, you can increase your time to give it more time to sublimate. You're keeping that heat on it long. It's going to start to sublimate as soon as that heat gets on it. It's just the rate at which that those gases come down. So if you're using a lower temperature, maybe let's say you don't want to bake in your office, but you don't mind pressing for longer, you can set it at a lower temperature and just press for a longer time to give it time for all of that gas to come out and gas out and get onto your substrate. But pressure, if it's not even to where that gas is going straight to the substrate, you're going to get some voids, and it's not going to be as vibrant as it could be. If you have a lower temperature and you lift it up too soon, because it did not fully gas out, it is going to cause issues. With our paper, because it does not require a cover sheet on top, it does not bleed through at all. Anyway, shape, or form, you never have to worry about it bleeding through. But if you put a barrier, if you have a heat press that has a Teflon sheet on the top, if you are putting a piece of butcher paper on top, more so the Teflon, and if you're using Teflon and the butcher paper, you are creating a heat barrier. Now, when you are pressing at 400 degrees for 60 seconds, you have a higher temp and you're giving it a longer dwell time. So you're not like, you probably, like when you're using all those other papers, you didn't notice a big difference having your Teflon and the butcher paper, because you are, again, pressing for a longer period of time and at a higher temperature. So that ink has time to do its thing. But with using a lower temperature and lower time, you got to get that heat to that paper so that it can release. So having those barriers, those heat barriers, will affect how it sublimates and it completing that sublimation process so that you have nice, vibrant colors. So your even pressure and avoiding heat barriers when necessary. So if you're using a paper that bleeds out the back and you have to use it, then of course you're going to stick with your, if you use plain paper setting, you don't have to bake under 400. You can do 385 for like 50 seconds and you should be good, even with like the butcher paper. Or maybe go like 385 for 60 seconds, somewhere in there. But if you're not using premium matte, you should not have to use 400 degrees. That's just overkill. And then the last part about vibrant colors is you're over sublimating. Remember I said the way to kind of get some of those colors to come out and to not be as red is to over sublimate it. Well, it's going to adjust, like it's going to affect the vibrancy of it. It's taking away some of that color. Some people will suggest that when you mess up a tumbler, put it in your oven and let it bake off. So those colors will start to fade and they won't be as vibrant because you are at that point over sublimating it. So get yourself a journal or something to write down like settings and write down different tips, especially if you are new. Don't try to hold all of that in your brain. I know most of my audience, we aren't young spring chickens where our mind, it might be so sharp and we're going to remember every single thing. Write it down. There's no shame or blame in writing it down. Get yourself a notebook and write these things down, guys. All right. So that's pretty much like as far as just this process and when it comes to printing. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot one of the most important things when we went back to colors being off is you have to understand that when you print, so if you look at this right here, people stop at this process and say that my colors are off. You know, if it's a teal and things like that, it's supposed to be teal. It looks bluish. What's going on? So you can see this color here, like the color blue, but it produces this color. It's like a cyan. It's not quite that same color. And when you print it off, because it is heat activated, it's going to be very light here, but it's going to press the correct color. Well, it's going to press to where it's vibrant, and it's not going to be dull. So I forgot about that. People always say, well, why are my colors so dull? But they're stopping at the print process and not seeing what the colors will look like once they are pressed. When in doubt, keep scrap fabric, or get yourself some big old 5X shirts or shirts that you have messed up, cut them up, and let this be your tester shirt. So when you want to test colors to see how they are outputting, you can just test it on this. You should always have fabric. And you can see how many times I end up doing this test. And this was, I think, testing different printers. So if I'm not mistaken, this is the 2720, and this is from the Epson 7720. Yeah, and you can see the difference, like some reddish tones in Mickey's face and Elsa, in Anna and things like that. So that was me testing 2 different printers to help someone out with their colors and stuff like that. But I purchased about a bunch of 5X shirts. I don't really sell that many of them. So I started using those as like tester ones because, hey, they're there. Or if I mess a shirt up, I will use it as a test shirt. But always, if when in doubt, print out something smaller, press it if you're not quite sure. All right. So that's all that I have for you guys today. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys, my newbies, my vets, to help you avoid some issues, maybe some things that you did not know about. Hopefully I answered your questions. If not, feel free to drop them as a comment. I might not be able to answer them now, but I will go back and check those comments later and answer them for you, or one of our great experts who are always on our channels or our platforms may answer those for you. That notebook is the best advice. Oh, Latoya, maybe that just might be coming out. So the Cricut shirts are one where it is 2 synthetic fibers. So it's pretty good on those. The thing with shirts, everyone like wants this whole, I don't like the shiny shirts. I want more of a cotton shirt. Well, it's the way that they are blended, like in the way that they are woven. Some shirts have a tighter weave and like the way they're made. So the color is going to like be really close together and it's going to look really nice and vibrant. There are others where it's like a lot more porous, like the fibers are spread out a little bit more, so it looks a little bit different. Even though it's 100% polyester or high poly count, it can look a little bit different. I find that Cricut must be using different shops, which I know they do. The new shirts I was getting, the Sport Tech, when I look in the collar, they have some that were made in Madagascar, some that were made in Haiti, and I forget the other place. So there are like 3 different made in for those shirts. So these are different factories. They may end up making the shirts slightly different depending on the equipment that they have. So even with the same brand, you may see a slight difference in the shirts because of the way that they were made and the way that they were woven together. So I have some shirts, I look at them like, man, these colors, like, it looks great, it looks fantastic. And then there are others where I'm like, I don't like it so much because of like it's a really thin shirt, it's not taking a lot of the color, and the fibers on it are a lot more spread apart. So there seems like it's like gappy and it's kind of weird. So it really does depend on the shirt. And with Cricut, I did, when the Heat were in the finals, I did some shirts. The male shirt and the kid shirt pressed one way, the ladies cut shirt pressed a different way. So it's hit or miss for me personally when it comes to Cricut shirts. She says, I'm adding this live to my SILAHOLICS folder. She says, I'll buy it right now. Oh, thank you. You are very welcome. You're welcome. Thanks. It helps a lot. Thank you, Professor. You're very welcome. Thanks. I knew they were pressing different for a reason. Yes. That's the thing with me. I'm going to do a lot of the research. You watch my channels, my videos might be long, but I'm going to give you all the information because I'm going to go through and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Like my goal in my videos is to help you avoid as many issues as possible if you can in the beginning, or if you're experiencing those issues, tell you exactly why, how to fix it, the reason why, what to look for, create a notebook so that you can avoid those issues in the future. So that's my whole goal over here. All right. And so someone also said, saving it to my Silaholics folder, right? So I want you to do me a favor. I want you to change the name of that folder to 365 Creative. That's all I'm going to say, but change that folder to 365 Creative. All right. Might be some news coming soon. This is the video that I have been looking for. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are very welcome, Gail. Hopefully this won't be your last. Are you a subscriber over here? If not, hopefully you have hit the subscribe button. You are very welcome, Miss Scott. And she said, you're the best. Thank you, Latoya. Appreciate it, girl. All right, y'all. I'm going to go. I have to do this video. I'm going to put our Formula B ink in a 2803, 2830. So that's the next video that I'm about to do. Just to see like the output of those and like in those colors with the new printer. So, all right. Yes, she says 365 Creative. She's I am a subscriber. All right, cool beans. Thank you. You are awesome. Thank you for sharing your gift. You are very much so welcome. So much valuable information. Ooh, a Gail, but the last name Gail. All right, y'all. She says, thank you, Professor. I got a folder now. I know what to do with it now. All right, cool beans. Submate your own folder. Get you a folder that you can submate and then submate and say this is my TPTM. If you guys don't know, that is the official hashtag for me when you learn great things and you want to share, not just in my group, maybe share with others that you learned it from me. Not so much the first ones, but TPTM and INKCREDIBLE whenever you're using HS Ink products, or use HS Ink 365, but TPTM. So you go ahead and make you a TPTM notebook for the professor taught me. I'm making me a folder too. Yes, go ahead. Save all of these to your YouTube playlist. Make you a YouTube playlist with all of our videos. I'm going to actually make one as well that's going to have like some of like the most important videos. So yeah, do that. And then also join our academy. We will have a sale on all of our classes. There are going to be some bundles for all of the classes that like, well, not all, but like some of the classes that, well, all the classes will be in certain bundles for like all of my like, pre-recorded video, like, well, older videos and stuff like the older classes, should I say. And always consider joining our membership. I'm going to have some classes just for Sublimation. I cannot believe I did not do a party favor class this year at all. We're definitely going to get one in next year because I didn't do one. I was going to do one in September. I never got around to it, but we're going to do the party favor class next year. Might even, I feel weird, so I might try and sneak one in December because I feel weird not doing a party favor class at all this year. But we have a lot of classes in store and lined up for next year. Some live classes and hands-on, and y'all get to come to Miami for the 365 Fest and all of that kind of good jazz. All right. So until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be INKCREDIBLE. Peace.